Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Supervisors meeting for Falls Township, February 24th, 2025. We're going to begin with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Before we start the meeting, before we even do that, I wanted to do a moment of silence for the passing of Anna Payne. She was a beloved Middletown supervisor, gone way too soon. If we could just have a moment of silence in her memory. Thank you. Mr. Galloway, could you please call the roll?
Yes. Jeff Braskett. Here. John Palmer.
Here.
Aaron Mullen.
Here.
Jeffrey Dance. And of course, I am here.
Thank you. Before we get to the business of the meeting, we are going to have the honoring of Sergeant Stephen Reeves for incident command performance. Chief, would you like to tell us?
I'd be happy. Good evening. So last year on March 17, 2024, it was a beautiful Saturday, and we were all preparing for the parade that we enjoy so much here in the Levittown area when an unexpected tragedy befell our community. Not only did we have a triple homicide at two different crime scenes, we had a third crime scene where there was a carjacking. And when these incidents unfold, often it is the decisions that are made early in the incident that determine whether or not they'll be resolved in a way that minimizes the threat to human life and maximizes our chance of catching the perpetrator and prosecuting that individual. So Sergeant Reeves was the sergeant on duty that day, and I can tell you from before I even arrived, I could hear on the radio by the decisions he was making that he was managing this incident very effectively. We had help from local jurisdictions. Our staging area was Pennsbury High School. We had about 90 police there from different agencies throughout Bucks County. We had state and federal partners that came, but it all started with the decision-making and leadership of Steve Reeves, and that's why we're here to honor him tonight.
This is a certificate of appreciation for Sergeant Steve Reeves. This certificate is given to Sergeant Reeves for his demonstration of skill and excellence for taking control and command when needed most. Hopefully this certificate will serve as motivation to others as well as a reminder to him that when he was needed most, he was able and willing to step up for the protection and safety of others.
You guys want to come up and get your picture up here? This is Harley Green from the Bucks County St. Patrick's Day Parade. He's the parade director. This is Michael Hennessy. He's a member of the parade.
Thank you.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Chief, thank you.
Good job, Chief.
It's all Mike.
Yeah.
It's going to help speech.
We'll move on to item number 1, executive session. Mr. Clark, can you comment?
Thank you, Ms. Mullen. The board held an executive session prior to the start of tonight's meeting. The board consulted with a township consultant on a personnel matter. No deliberations occurred and no votes were taken. The board also discussed a collective bargaining agreement and several personnel matters.
Thank you. Item number 2 is public comment. I have a resident sign-in sheet. Public comment will be limited to 5 minutes per person for a maximum of 45 minutes. I'll keep the time. The first person on our list is Judy. Apologize if I misspell. Arseniaco. Wow, thank you.
Well done.
Good evening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'm a relatively new resident in this community. I've been here for about a year and a half. I'm in Penwood Crossing Manufactured Home Community. There's approximately 900 plus lots in that community. I have some questions about the business on Penn Valley Road, KPK Reclamation, I think it is, and what materials they're using, what is getting dumped there. My home is approximately 75 to 100 yards away from this, and you can't help but notice it and hear the trucks. But I wasn't able to find any information about the operation itself and the end goal. You know, if it's a quarry reclamation where they're filling in the quarry to put it back to natural space, and what kind of materials are going in there, what's getting dumped there, could it be harmful stuff? I don't know. So I figured I'd come and ask you, and you might not be able to answer me tonight. I couldn't find it online. I was looking for some information, or you could point me in a direction that I could get that information.
Judy, thank you for coming out. I can say that I do not know at this time if our engineer would like to weigh in.
Sure. The KPK quarry and materials site is all clean fill. And so any fill coming into the site has to pass DEP muster, and any materials leaving the site. Sometimes he takes it and fills the quarry, and other times he resells it. But it's basically clean dirt and rock and different materials like that.
So it's nothing to be, there's no environmental concern? Okay,
And it's monitored by DEP.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next name on the list is Scott Taylor. Good evening.
Hi, I'm also a resident. I'm actually Judy's neighbor across the street. And in the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, the rent increase. I don't know if there's a limit they can increase our rent, or, but it's just been astronomical. And now there's a thing with trash. It all used to be included in the rent. We pay monthly lot rent, and in the beginning it was water was covered, cable was covered, trash was covered. Now slowly they're starting to, well, not slowly, but cable's not covered. Water, they're charging us sewer now per anything over 10,000 gallons a quarter. And then there's another sign if you're over $6,000 a quarter. It's kind of confusing. Now I don't know half, but a majority of the people that live in here are single income, retired, looking for affordable housing, and now that's starting to turn into not so affordable anymore. My last 3 years, my rent's going up $1,000 a year, and now they want to put on this trash bill for $500 a year. One pickup once a week. And I know Falls Township doesn't pay for trash collection, but now we're getting into, well, that's supposed to be your private owned, so Falls Township doesn't pick our trash up. Now I'm wondering if there's any kind of way we can get Falls Township to pick our trash up so we can get rid of that $40 a month bill that they just tack on. Now, my yearly lease is up in August, and they send this thing out as an addendum to the prices of the fee disclosure sheet, they call it. That's everything you're responsible for. But now you just tack that on your rent automatically, not when your lease is up or anything like that. They say it's not an addition to your lease. It's an addendum to they play words. It's all, like lawyer talk, I call it. But anyway, I was wondering if that's legal. because we call and try and get a hold of the managers and this and that, and it's all just a runaround. And they say, it's pretty much, if you don't like it, don't sign your lease and move out, you know? But now it's getting to be where the affordable housing isn't so affordable, like I said. And I just was wondering if there was any kind of help that the township can do. We are Falls Township residents, but because we live in the park, we're not considered Falls Township residents. It's kind of weird. I don't know where you draw the line. Fire company comes, we pay township taxes, we pay school taxes, and I'm just wondering if there was anything township could do for us. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. My husband just got that same hat. It's a good one. Yeah. You have a minute and a half, yep.
Cedar Lane, is there any chances of that being repaved anytime soon? And there's a garage at the end that, there's so many cars parked there, and there's so many no parking signs. It's just, it's crazy. Sometimes they're not even like almost one lane to get through, and there's traffic. It's in between Penn Valley and Tyburn Road. And there are businesses on, Tri-State Metals on there, so it's a pretty busy road. So I don't know if that's ever has plans to be repaved. And then is there anything about the noise at this quarry that Judy mentioned? The dump trucks are just there all day. Is that a thing that is just limited to anything past 10 o'clock and 7 in the morning? It's, I don't know how many decibels it is, but the dump trucks, when they dump, it's just boom. You hear this constant boom, like now it's been like, what, every minute and a half, you hear boom. And if you don't know what it is, it kind of scares you.
They probably have operating hours. I'm sure that the manager can get that
so
for you.
I don't think decibel walls or anything is included in that.
And Matt, you'll look into the garage. It's at Tyburn and, is it Cedar?
Yeah,
Tyburn, right on the corner. I agree with him on that.
right.
Yeah, I live right there.
All right.
So, Mr. You were wrapping up anyway? That was perfect timing.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to thank you for coming. You brought up several things. What I can ask is if you can come up and write down your phone number. We can look into a few of the things that we might not be able to address tonight. Mr. Clark, is it appropriate for you to speak generally on the rent issue or not at this time?
Well, what I can say is the township has nothing to do with the rent that is charged by a private landlord within the township. Private landlords are allowed to charge the rent that they would like. There is no rent control or rent stabilization. We are not involved in that private transaction between individuals. And as far as the trash is concerned, the arrangement that the township has had for many years with Waste Management is for the collection of residential trash, but that does not include private communities, HOAs, or things along those lines. It's just residential trash of all the properties located within the township. But Penwood Crossing is unique in that it is a private community.
Okay. Can you make your way up here and we'll take your phone number down and then we can make sure to get in touch with you to let you know about repaving and some of the other things that you brought up that are of interest also to Mr. Boraski. The next number on our list, the next name on our list is Dawn Taylor.
I just went over the stuff that she was going to do. So.
Oh, well, she wants to add a couple things, so, yeah.
He stole your thunder.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dawn. I'm Scott's wife.
Good evening.
And I just wanted to say, like, yeah, we pay taxes and everything else and, you know, keep up with our house. And I feel like we're in this bubble and, like, we're sinking and no government can help us because it's privately owned. And this guy doesn't take care of his property. We've had a tree fall on our house. I had to use my homeowners to get that covered. There's a tree behind my house. I've been talking to the code enforcement guy, Ed Bauer, I think. So he's been in and out of the trailer park working on some stuff. And I did talk to Jim Propriak. He said he's trying to put a cap on the rent. He's trying to work on that. I don't know how far he got with that. But I just feel like we're in this bubble and like nobody can help us because it's privately owned. And this guy does not take care of nothing. He gets away with everything. And it's like he's all lawyered up and nobody can touch this guy. And it's, we just don't know what to do.
Matt,
Or who to
speaking
talk
of
to.
any code violations issues, we still have rights to patrol that stuff, correct?
Yes, yeah, and as a matter of fact, we actually have increased inspections and enforcements against Penwood Crossing and other manufactured home parks.
Yeah, so anything that you think could be a code violation or something that you want the township code enforcement to come look
I've
at?
sent Ed plenty of pictures and the stuff's still sitting there.
Okay.
I mean, it is winter time. I mean, but still, this guy is not taking care of the property.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, there's slab of cement sitting there for the last year and a half. It's dangerous. They just dug it up and left it there.
Okay.
So that's dangerous. The tree, I complained about that. It goes,
Did you report that to the township or just to them?
I did complain, I did send it to Ed.
Oh, all right.
I did send that to Ed and about the tree.
Okay.
It's growing underneath our house, underneath our patio. The other thing was he had all underground tanks of oil tanks. They were all leaking. So apparently I think he got sued by the EPA or somebody. And ours, they had to keep underneath our trailer because if they took it out, the back end of our trailer would have sunk because of the big tree that's back there and all the roots growing underneath our trailer, I mean. So they did get the oil out of the tank, but they had to leave ours underneath there. And it just seems like every time there was a leak of a pipe that was leaking for like 3 months. So every time something goes wrong in that trailer park, we pay for it. And then if we say anything, then we either get something taken away from us or he raises something. So it's like you have to be quiet and just stay in your house and that's it, and not say a word. And it's just, I feel like we're not getting any help anywhere.
Okay.
But Ed is trying to help. He has been out there, but it needs to be, they need to come out more often.
All right.
So,
Matt, you'll follow up with that, correct? Thank you.
Yes.
all right, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming. Next is Derek Kennedy.
No public comment. I'm here for a couple other agenda items for information and questions, so I just signed in for a matter of record.
Oh, well, thank you. Finally, Jennifer Metzger.
Hi, everybody. Jennifer Metzger, Falls Township resident. Okay, couple of things that I was concerned about. In the last meeting, Michael Clark wouldn't let the engineer answer Robert Abrams' questions about the cascading waterfall that we're worried about resulting from removing the dam that is now PHS West. We're concerned about the high school being built on wet ground. We've had a couple of conversations about it. I know that your board doesn't feel like you have a say because it's with the planning commission, but I want to bring your attention. This is 2011 board minutes for this board. Chairman Harvey said there was a zoning matter coming up regarding a property where they were looking to put a mulching facility at the corner of Mill Creek Road and Bristol Pike. The area was pretty close to residences. Chairman Harvey asked the board to permit the solicitor to go and state the opposition to the proposed zoning change. They were asking for a lot of variances. Member Dents at the time moved to send the solicitor to the zoning hearing board meeting to state the township's opposition to that application. Member Zupka seconded the motion. All board members were in favor. So there is precedent for you guys saying something to another board, to another group, whatever it is. Okay. So here in the minutes, again.
That's the zoning hearing board, not the planning commission.
I would like anybody to get off their ass and do anything about taking care of this Pennsbury High School. Okay? And so every time you blow us off, we're going to just keep bringing it up. Thank you, Mr. Clark. I also want to bring your attention to the bowling alley, Levittown Lanes. They're talking about putting up a multi-unit apartment building. And so we're asking that you limit it to 2 stories, if possible. We're asking because, again, in the last meeting, there was precedent with Brzezinski, where it was reduced from 2 stories, or down to 2 stories from 3 stories, and fencing and landscaping was added to provide separation from houses. That was done with this board. So we're asking that you guys say something to the Planning Commission, regardless of whether or not it's a zoning board. We're also concerned about a couple of things. So right now you're saying that you don't have any control over taxes, but Falls Township has been amazing with making sure that you're not raising taxes for residents. You've done an amazing job with it for decades, and we appreciate everything that you've done. However, we think you have a little bit more power than you think, because it's Pennsbury School District that's charging our residents more than 84% of their real estate taxes, and it's affecting everybody, including people that are in private communities and people who are in rental situations, because the landlord has to cover their real estate taxes. And again, if 84% of the real estate taxes they're paying is going to the school, then allowing the school to build, allowing the school to use the maximum percentages that are given each year by the Pennsylvania Department of Education, by not stopping them, they're literally taking over. And yes, they're a local government, but so are you. And you do have more power than they do, because you do stand above them. I know it's an arduous thing and there's friends involved and everything else, but we're asking you guys to step in, because this is affecting everybody, our seniors, it's affecting our hardworking residents. It's definitely a huge problem. And then parks. I'm almost out of time, I'm so sorry. But
Okay.
your board said for our parks, it would be dawn to dusk now instead of 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. I know the township has ordinance usually with 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. for businesses, but you changed the parks to be inhabited only from dawn to dusk for a lot of reasons. Safety reasons, there's vandalism, there's a whole bunch of crazy things going on. We're asking, Pennsbury is trying to do a bunch of rental contracts with different athletic leagues to use the synthetic turfs, to use cricket fields, to use lighting, a whole bunch of different things that we've already talked to you about with the community. We're worried about the environment and the impact to everybody. But it's going to cost the residents a lot more money because, for example, the lighting is $3 million. The fields were $5.3 million. They're only getting $300,000 out of this 15-year contract. But our concern is that they're talking about using our fields from 7:30 p.m. at night until we don't know when. They said each game's at least an hour and a half, so that would potentially hit the 10 o'clock mark. We're asking if there's a way for you to further impose your already decision for dawn to dusk for your parks, if that would be further applied to Pennsbury, because we live across the street.
I
and the lights are
let
already
you
in our
go
way.
over so that you could finish that point.
I appreciate
and
it.
we will mark it down and we hear you, but I have to let you.
No, I
I
appreciate
have to
it.
cut
Thank you
off
so
now.
much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Okay, that is the end of public comment. Thank you all. We're going to move to item number 3, consideration of approval for proposal from Remington and VERNICK engineers for pedestrian crosswalk upgrades at New Falls Road and Vermillion Drive.
All right, good evening. So the proposed project at Vermillion and New Falls Road is essentially a crosswalk improvement project. There's an existing marked crosswalk there. The plan includes adding a signalized push-button activated pedestrian warning lights. There's some pavement and markings and signing that goes with that as well, but it's essentially a pedestrian signal installation. The design is done. We have our PennDOT permits, when the next step is to go to bid and advertise the project for construction.
Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. And we anticipate the start of construction on or about May 5th?
Correct.
And how long? No, please, just how long until completion?
It would approximately 3 months.
3 months?
Right, depending on availability of supply, so that's not 3 active months of construction, but
Any questions from board members?
No questions.
More of a comment, I just wanted to applaud you because we're like year and a half or 2 years overdue, and we're like right on budget still, so, I'm sorry. And we're right on budget, so with, you know, with the rising cost of construction and materials, and I'm real happy to see that, so thank you. I'm excited to see this project. It's, you know, been a long time coming. I was actually looking through, I don't know if it was executive session or maybe a board agenda, but it was like the same year I had gotten on the board, and it was the start of the New Falls, and I'm there asking for that crosswalk to be done in 2014, or it was early 15. So to be ending my, you know, 12 years on the board with finally getting that crosswalk on New Falls is a good way to end my 12-year career here. So thank you.
thank you.
Mr. Palmer, any questions?
No, I just echo his same sentiment. This is definitely needed, and I'm glad it's coming to fruition.
Thank you. Any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, and I'll just add a comment. A thank you to Mr. Boraski for being persistent in moving this project along. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is consideration of approval for proposal from Remington and VERNICK engineers for Trenton Road and North Olds Boulevard Traffic Signal Improvement Project.
It's another great project.
Yes. Do you want to describe, I can just read, I mean, I can say what it is too.
Yeah, go ahead, and I can answer
Okay,
any questions or...
it's a budget estimate for $338,000, a full traffic signal replacement and modernization at the intersection of Trenton Road and North Olds Boulevard, ADA ramps, and associated roadway improvements. Funded by a Green Light Go grant with a 20% township match. Anticipated construction to begin April 21st, 2025. Mr. Kennedy, is the same, 3 months or different timeline for that one?
It most likely, this one will be a little bit longer, so it would go through probably into the summer, so maybe 5 months, I would assume.
Thank you. Any other questions from board members?
No, I just look forward to seeing it getting done. There's so many kids leaving that school that cross there in the morning and the afternoon. And then when the schools do let out the traffic there, it really needs this. And thank you.
Mr. Boraski? Mr. Palmer?
I'm glad to see that this project's getting majority of it through the Green Light grant. I'd like to see that.
I have no questions. Are there any board comment? Public comment? Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye, sorry, I didn't say aye. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
Thank you.
Item number 5, consideration of approval for ratifying the AFSCME contract. Mr. Takita, do you want to take us through this?
I'll handle this. What you have in front of you this evening is a ratification of the tentative agreement with our AFSCME union. The board has been, or the township has been negotiating this contract for some time, and within the last several weeks, we have reached a tentative agreement. The union has already approved the tentative agreement. If the board is to approve it this evening, the terms will go into effect, and then we will put it in final contract form for execution at some later date. This is a 4-year contract. The wage increases will be 5% the first year, 4% the second year, 4% the third year, and 3.5% in the fourth year. The contract will also include a healthcare contribution premium share of 0% in the first 2 years, 0.5% in the third year, and 1% in the fourth year.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Is it fair to say generally that we were in line with comparable townships as far as those rate increases?
The wage increases are fairly consistent with what we are seeing in Bucks and Montgomery County. The healthcare contribution is also in line for a municipality that is having a healthcare contribution for the first time. While there may be other municipalities that may be slightly higher in the healthcare contribution, normally you don't just jump in at 3 or 4%. It's that kind of ramp up is what you see in this contract.
Thank you. Any questions from board members?
No.
No question.
Any public comment? Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Item number 6, consideration of approval for proposal from FX Brown for Act 101 Recycling Grant. Mr. Takita, is this the one, we're just renewing what we always, we've done for several years since I've been here?
Yes, that's correct. The only difference in this one is it's a $300 increase from last year's fee. The fee for this year is $6,300.
Thank you. Any questions from board members?
No.
No question.
Any public comment? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 7, consideration of approval for ratifying myrec.com recreation software agreement. Hi, Mr. Andrews.
How are you? Basically in front of you, this is the registration software we use for our programs, summer camp, the pool, the archery, all the fun programs that we do here in Parks and Rec. We've been actually using this program in 2024, and it actually saved us money from our previous software company, and it gives us a lot more options. It's been a big help, especially down at the pool. Helps with our concession stand, helps with inventory, just gives us an all-encompassing capability, and it's been a great addition, to our programming. So I'm just asking you to look at it and continue using it.
We've used them before.
Yeah, we used it in 2024. Was our first year.
It's what?
We used it in 2024
Oh, okay, yeah,
It
because
it should have got.
this contract's got an old date on it.
It should have went on 2024 in front of the board. We went forward with it.
This is the old contract?
It is. Yeah, but it's the same rate going forward.
Okay.
It carries over.
This is, the MyRec thing is what, I think I've used this to book a pavilion. It would be
Correct.
that, yeah, it's
Correct.
great. I like it.
It's been much more user-friendly than our previous software.
Yeah.
So much better.
I agree. Any questions from board members?
No question.
No question.
Any public comment? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Sticking with Mr. Andrews, number 8, consideration of approval for fertilizer quotes for township facilities.
Yeah, I kind of inherited this for this year.
I feel like we do this all the time.
For fertilizer. Basically, what we've been using True Green for several years now, and we did actually go out and try to get a few other proposals. They came in at the best number again. I think it's pretty comparable to what we spent in 2024. The new township building is added to this proposal. So that'll probably, the final contract number will probably be less because depending when we get in there and how much we'll do at the township building with the services. Basically, they do all the services at our parks and our facilities, aerating, seating, the treatments and so forth. You see at the ball fields and so forth. And the township building's been added. So I'm just asking if we can move forward with using True Green again in 2025.
Thank you. Are there any questions from board members?
No question.
No, they do a nice job.
No
Yeah.
Any public comment? Is there a motion to approve the fertilizer quotes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 9, consideration of approval for the purchase of ventless fryers and installation of a vent hood for the Falls Township Community Park.
Okay, just a little background on why we're doing this. This past year, we had to do inspections of all the Little League facilities, upgrade with the fire codes. And as we went through there, we've had to do some work, upgrading emergency exit lights and so forth. And what came up also is the use of fryers, for concession stand items. And what we have currently in all our facilities are not compliant with the fire code. So we've been looking at, obviously we have to do the right thing here. We've looked at options of putting new vent hoods in with exhaust, but we've also come across the option of some ventless fryers, which would enable us not to have to do as much carpentry, as much ductwork, electric that would be required. What I'm proposing is at 3 of our facilities, due to the way the buildings are laid out, Community Park, Levittown Continental, and Yatsko Field, proposing putting ventless fryers in there. That's essentially, we're just doing electric work in there. We don't have to worry about running new duct work and so forth through there. At Fairless Hills, the Austin Drive complex, they have a hood system there, but we need to add everything with fire suppression, which the ventless fryers have, and the vent hood that we propose at Fairless Hills would just be adding suppression and electrical work. So what you have in front of you are proposals for the ventless fryers and one for upgrading the existing vent hood at Fairless Hills.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
No.
Mr. Boraski? Mr. Palmer?
Yeah. Is there going to be training for this, for the facilities?
They're pretty straightforward to use. They have a great instructional video for the ventless fryers. I actually looked into that when I was doing it. It's pretty straightforward. I think they're safer. The oil's contained within these units, so you don't have the splashing of the oil that could come back on you. And they're double baskets, so you could do French fries on one side, chicken fingers on the other side. We're also going to purchase heat lamps and a year worth of filters. And the maintenance with them is basically, they also give you a video on how to maintain them also. So I think we're going to give all the associations a leg up here on, being compliant and still being able to, sell concession items that way.
And is there a maintenance agreement for
There's
repair?
not right now. I'd have to check with the company on that. There is a warranty on it, which I'll find out on the units themselves, I'm sure. But as far as maintaining them, we could probably have them inspected each year. I think our fire inspector are going to be inspecting every year anyway for just basic fire code, stuff, or exit lights, emergency lights. This could be a big component of it too.
All right, thank you.
We'll have the best chicken fingers in the county down here in Falls Township.
Looking into these things, they're fairly new. They use them more so upstate, near the mountains. Like Rudders is kind of a comparable, like Sheets and Wawa. They use them there. So I think for concession stands, because of the space limitations.
I think it's great. Yeah.
And the ability, because you have to do duct work, and, especially, you don't know, when you start ripping things apart at your house, you don't know what you're going to find. That could add to the expense. So I think these might be more upfront, but I think in the long term, it should benefit us.
And it's a huge investment in our youth programs. This is a huge part of their revenue that allows them to continue to serve the youth at the community, or at the level which they do, keep their rates down so that more kids can participate in their programs. And most importantly, to do that safely, because the whole reason we got here was we weren't sure that a fire could be suppressed if it.
Right, and that was the challenge looking into it. They all have fire suppression built in.
Yes.
And the company that we will purchase these from, if approved, they do come out and do the testing off the get-go. And I'll find out more information on that, going forward. Try to come up with some sort of maintenance agreement, work with the associations and go forward. And these things are portable also.
Yeah.
So if somebody's not using it somewhere, we want to upgrade our menu at Pinewood Pool at some point, we might look into that. I don't know. We'll see how they go. But that's the rationale behind it.
Thank you. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, no public comment. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Do we have to take a poll of board or no? We're spending money.
Should I be polling the board on that one for a voice vote?
Spending money?
No, you're not spending it yet.
Okay.
You're just approving it, and then it'll be paid for on the bills.
Okay.
Yep, so you're good.
Okay, item number 10, we just have this paperwork over here. Consideration of approval for surplus vehicle bids. Mr. Takita?
4 township vehicles were listed with Auctions International. The bidding ended on February 21st, 2025. All 5 vehicles were up for sale for a total amount of $11,900. There is a spreadsheet attached listing each vehicle with the individual dollar amount. The board is being asked to approve the sale of these vehicles.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Mr. Borowski?
No.
Mr. Palmer?
No.
Any public comment on this item? If one of our board members has left, should I wait to call the vote?
Yeah, probably. You have 3 members present, but Mr. Galloway just stepped out, I'm assuming briefly. He's coming back, so if you...
We'll give him a minute and see how
Okay.
brief. I've never had this happen. Usually I leave.
Yes.
Okay, would anybody like to make a motion on item number 10?
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Just for record.
Oh, man. A no.
What?
We're 2 to 1.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Math. Okay, thank you.
No, so it fails.
Oh, it does, because he's here.
Second-class Township, we're the only
Yeah.
entity in the state that is required to have a majority of the whole and not the majority.
That's right. Can we, if he comes back, can we wait?
You can wait for Mr. Galloway to come back and cast the vote.
Can I recess for a minute?
You certainly can.
Okay. This is my first time using the gavel. Recess.
You did a good job.
Let me see what's up. All right, we're going to call the meeting back to order. And there was a vote, there was a motion to approve the surplus vehicle bids, Mr. Galloway, that was seconded and is now on the table for vote.
The other board members have voted, Mr. Galloway, so you'd be the final person to vote on this motion.
Yeah, and I vote to approve.
Thank you. Item number 11, consideration of approval for the proposal from Manfredi LLC for management consulting services to assist in the search for a new township manager. This is consulting for a rate of $275 for a managing member down to direct admin support at $75 per hour. Is there a motion for item number 11?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
No, please ask for public comment.
If I must, any public
The
comment?
hardest part about the job,
Come on up, Tony.
the hardest part.
Sorry, Tony. We want to hear from you. I just was moving along.
As a resident, I would just like to express appreciation for the job that Matt has been doing. It's a lot of hard work. He's been doing it very well. And I'm sorry that it has to come to this. So if you all take your time and really look hard for a really good replacement, that would be fine.
Thank you very much. That was nice. The motion has been made and seconded. Does that still stand? We don't have to do that over again? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
Item number 12, consideration of approval for settlement agreement for 117 Makefield Road. Mr. Clark?
This is a matter where a resident, the township, took down a tree that the resident is claiming my apologies. This is a resident that is claiming that they took down a tree that belongs to the township that was in the right-of-way. We don't agree with the resident, but it's probably cheaper just to get this resolved. So we've entered into this agreement with the property owner.
Thank you. Are there any questions from board members?
No.
Any public comment?
I have a question.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Clark, you don't think this opens up a whole list of people who are going to want to bring these claims into the township?
We need to clean up our ordinance a little bit to make it a little clearer. That's what we're recommending. We think the problem is because of the way our ordinance is written. We think that there's some ambiguity in the ordinance and some confusion. So in addition to doing this, we're working with Mr. Takita to tighten up our ordinance, and we'll have something for you in the future. I do agree with you that if we were just to settle this and we were not to do anything else, that it would potentially open up, as you say, a can of worms and could set a precedent. But we think that the problem is because the ordinance is unclear.
Unclear of what part, like if you have your property surveyed and the tree was on their property or the township's property?
There's some confusion about who is the responsibility for, who has to maintain the trees that are within the right-of-way and who has that responsibility, especially if they're posing some sort of danger. As I said, the ordinance is a little unclear, and we are working on the amendment for it.
Mr. Palmer, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Any public comment? Ms. Metzger?
Hi, it's just Jen. So this actually is a major problem. I know that, just tree. But to give you a prime example, there are a lot of trees on the aprons, and the aprons have been destroyed over time when there's
I'm
been...
from Levittown. I'm
Yeah.
well aware of the
So-
curbs being lifted and all that.
It's just for everybody who's
Yeah.
listening. A lot of the aprons have been destroyed over time because when Verizon and Comcast have come in and done the fiber optics and they've changed the lines and different things, they've actually driven right onto the sidewalks, which have caused sidewalks to fall. We have manhole covers in certain sidewalks. We have people who have, as neighbors, covered their sidewalks over their manhole covers, and those trees are ripping underneath some of those sidewalks and pulling them up. So if I'm not allowed to take down the tree that's on the apron, but Falls Township won't replace the sidewalk that has the manhole cover in it, then what do I do? So this isn't my property, but this is something that's going to impact me at some point, so I'd be one of those people that you want to fix the ordinance before I have to deal with it. Thank you.
I don't know where this property, like, I don't know exactly where 117 Makefield Road comes in, but a lot of the, just for reference, a lot of the utilities are all overhead in our neighborhood, like in Falls Township, that if there's a manhole, it's more than likely just a stormwater, but there's
No, there's no
most of our
judgment.
utilities are all overhead in the backyards of our properties.
It happens over time. I happen to be on Hood Boulevard.
Not disagreeing with that.
So there are multiple manhole covers that were in sidewalks. All neighbors covered them. So now we have an ice problem. Every time it rains or anything, it fills, and then we try to dry it out, and it's almost impossible to dry a pool of water. So we've had an ice problem. PennDOT says the sidewalk is not theirs, but Falls Township says it's not theirs either. So I'm the idiot that falls in the
Yeah,
middle.
it's always been a responsibility of the homeowner to maintain the property inside the right of way. Unfortunately, I go through it myself too as a homeowner, you know, and of
Right.
Falls Township, so.
Right.
But it's always, everyone's aware of that. It's always been the homeowner's responsibility to maintain that property.
Right, so that would allow me to take the tree down. So what's the problem?
I don't know.
Lost.
Going to clean it up?
We're going to tighten
Yeah.
it up. Thank you. Any other questions from board members? Is there a motion to approve this settlement agreement?
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
No,
Opposed?
that's a wild one there.
Item number 13, consideration of approval for ordinance amending Chapter 168 Parks, Section 11, Hours, and Section 16, Violations and Penalties.
As previously discussed, we are modifying the Parks ordinance so that the parks will now close at sunset. We are also adding a procedure by which we can revoke someone's privileges to be in the park after they have been given proper notice and the opportunity to be heard if there are continued violations of park policy.
Thank you. Mr. Galloway, do you have any questions?
No.
Mr. Boraski?
No.
Mr. Palmer?
No question.
I have none. Is there any public comment? Please.
So just asking for clarification on, again, how this impacts the rest of the ordinance in the township for timing. Because right now it's 7 to 10, so like construction trucks can work, other, businesses and companies can work. How is the dawn to dusk for the parks going to impact the rest of the ordinances? That's what we're curious.
It doesn't.
No.
It
It only
doesn't.
affects the parks.
It's only parks.
Yeah.
It's for
But the
safety.
parks are out of the way
For
from
safety.
residences where 7 to 10 is a problem for us as residences.
I understand.
The other people during public comment mentioned it too, so.
I hear you. I understand. I just don't think they have anything to do with this particular ordinance.
Okay, but we're going to apply it, so we're asking for clarification. Make sure that it's documented, that it's not affecting anything else.
It's only for township-owned parks.
We're going to apply it to everything else, so when you get complaints, because there's a problem with people using some of the other lands in the area after 7:30 at night and potentially up to or past 10 o'clock, like if we have a party, we have to go knock on everybody's door and tell them, right? We have to ask permission to make sure it's okay. If there's a problem, they're going to call the police. So is that what we're supposed to do when people are...
I can't tell what you're supposed to do, and you're free to try to use this ordinance, but Mr. Clark is correct that it only applies to parks.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
This is
So moved.
ordinance
Second.
2025-1.
Ordinance 2025-1. It was so moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Does it have to go by voice vote or anything? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item number 14, consideration of approval for proposal from Jones Engineering Associates for professional services for the Community Park Hockey Rink Restoration Project. Okay. This is for a construction project for the cost of approximately $120,000 for, should we call it an upgrade to the hockey rink? This is to improve the drainage issues, I think.
Yes, I would refer to it as restoration and repairs.
Okay. And it's just not draining properly, and this will correct that.
Correct.
Are there any questions from board members?
No.
Mr. Boraski?
I spoke to Mr. Andrews about this.
Mr. Palmer?
No.
Any board comment on this agenda item? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 15, consideration of approval for authorization for advertisement for tree trimming and removal services bid. Mr. Takita, do you want to say anything about this?
No, this is just simply an requesting authorization to advertise for tree trimming and removal services
Thank
for
you.
April 2025 through December 2025.
Are there any questions about this from board members?
No.
Mr. Palmer?
No.
Any public comment? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 16, consideration of approval for authorization for advertisement for landscaping bids. Same thing. Any questions from board members?
No questions.
No.
I have a question.
Sure.
Mr. Takita, is there a reason why our Public Works doesn't do this function?
Historically, in the township, this is, the landscaping portion has gone out to bid. If you would like for us to look into the Public Works Department doing the landscaping, we can do that.
Is it some of the scope outside of their abilities, or are they able to do the work?
I'll actually defer to Brian. Are you familiar with the scope of landscaping that they're doing?
Yeah, typically a lot of it is plantings and, mulching and so forth. I'd have to look in a little more with what service specifically are done. I know that, with the spraying of the chemicals and so forth, guys have to have that certification.
Yeah, we pay some of the guys for.
Right, yeah, so, that's doable. I'd have to look into a little more in depth. I don't want to give you an accurate answer, but I can work with Matt on it
All right.
and see, if there's some things we could do maybe and so forth. But like historically, it's been typically handled by an outside vendor, so.
To that note, if we authorize to advertise and end up taking back some of the services, we are free to do that, correct?
You'd be fine.
Yep, okay. Any other questions? Public comment? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 17 is a resolution. It's consideration of approval for ratifying the declaration of the snow emergency resolution declared on February 11th through February 12th, 2025. Any questions from board members?
No question.
Any public comment?
Resolution 2025-10.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 18 is consideration of approval for donation request for the American Legion Post, which is the Memorial Day Parade. Bucks County St. Patrick's Day Parade, Delaware Valley Vietnam Veterans Memorial, Historic Fallsington Day, Levittown American, Falls Soccer Club, and Townships Against Graffiti. We typically do this annually at the request for certain nonprofits in the area who request donations. These are all in the amount of $6,000, but for Townships Against Graffiti, which is for a donation in the amount of $5,000. Are there any questions from the board? Mr. Galloway?
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Palmer?
No question.
Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 19 is consideration of appointment to boards. And I would like to make a motion to appoint Rachel Boyce to the Environmental Advisory Board.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any other appointments that the board wishes to make?
No, thank you.
Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Item number 20 are the minutes from January 27th, 2025. If anybody has any corrections, clarifications on these minutes. Excellent minutes as always, Ms. Pullen.
I have nothing.
Mr. Galloway?
No.
Mr. Palmer?
No question.
I have nothing. Board comment? I mean, the other one, public comment? Okay. Motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 21 is the engineer's report.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mrs.
Jones.
Mullen. You can see from the last month, January 2025, we've had 3 new land developments submitted and 2 earth disturbance permit applications. The highlights are in red on your report. I'll touch on some of them. For the land development and construction projects, the North Point Phase 2, Buildings 4, 5, and 6, there has been some demolition work in preparation for the new user of Building 6. For the LPC Morrisville Warehouse on Pennsylvania Avenue, work continues with drainage construction, concrete flat work, electric, and lighting. For the Air Liquide project, again, drainage improvements and preparation for parking and driveways. For North Point Area 3, Building 20, it's winding down, electric work, bollards, and improvements to the rail line. That's going to support that site. The land developments at the bottom, most of them are going to the Planning Commission tomorrow. That includes the Earl Paving Project, the Levittown Lanes Project, Metals USA, North Point Area 3, Star Tours, and North Point Area 2 amended, which is the user for Building 6 based on the aforementioned demolition work. Fallsington Tullytown garages were approved by the Planning Commission in January, and they will be before this board most likely next month. And the 8 East My Lane project has identified zoning issues, and they have to appear before the zoning hearing board before they can move forward to the Planning Commission. In terms of the earth disturbance updates, in the middle column, North Point Falls Industrial drainage and earthwork preparation for that project. And then the residential at number 40 is completed under TCO, awaiting vegetation to establish itself, as well as the SRL acquisitions. That's another residential project, and that's complete under a TCO, waiting for vegetation to establish. Same for number 61, the residents on that one. Number 66, the Sunbelt Forest Products, that's complete, but they're working on punch list items, after which we'll re-inspect it for a TCO or CO. For the WB US portfolio, that's the CSC Sugar site on Kresge Road, and Rock Hill Road. That's work on remediating some of the basins that have become fouled due to the, I think, sugar runoff. So they were under a DEP admonition to clean up, and that's what they're doing, and they're starting that project. The Fleck Holdings project, they're working on basin stormwater management work. The last two, Towpath Road and the Pennsbury School, Towpath Road has been approved, and the Pennsbury School project is under review. We don't have any updates for the township improvement projects. The township building is the same update as it was last month.
Thank you. Any board questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we take public comment on the engineer report?
We don't normally, but I think we might have last month.
Would anyone like to make a public comment on the engineer report, please?
Can I just ask you clarification? Pennsbury School's what?
They submitted an earth disturbance application.
Right, and then they saw the planning commission last month, but we're not seeing anything show up, like tonight or even at the planning commission tomorrow. Is there an update?
They submitted their sketch plan, it was reviewed, they presented it to the planning commission, they didn't ask for any kind of a recommendation, and now we wait for the land development plans to come in. They have not come in yet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And typically, not typically, earth disturbance permits do not go to the
Correct.
planning commission.
Okay. Item number 22 is the bill list. Forgive me, I don't have the summary that the chairperson usually has, because I'm pinch hitting.
Summary that we get from Betsy. Should be like Thursday.
Ms. Mullen, do you want me to run through it?
Oh, no, I can see if I can pull it up. Okay, so thank you to Ms. Rukoff. The total bills for the month are $4,284,909.79. 27.3% is payroll, and the remaining 72% includes payments, escrow release payments to North Point, Rycon Construction, payment release for general contracting, QPI Electrical, All States, and MICO for associated with the building renovation, and furniture purchases in the amount of $46,000-ish. Are there any questions from the board on the bill list?
No questions.
No questions.
Is there any public comment on the bill list? Okay, is there a motion to approve the bill list?
So made.
Second.
Second. Mr. Galloway, can you pull the board?
Jeff Borowski,
Yes.
John Palmer,
Yes.
Aaron Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Thank you. Item number, I'm sorry.
Can I go back to comment? I guess I have it for Joe. I seen the bill list. We have the GIS 2025 services. Is that to finish the GIS, do you know, or is that a Matt question?
I believe that's Remington and Vernick is handling the GIS program for the
But
township.
it's on the Carroll.
It's Carroll Engineering.
Carroll Engineering, I think the
Carroll
manager might want.
Engineering is working on the township's GIS system. Remington Vernick is working on a portion with TOFA to get the water and sewer utilities inlaid.
Are they showing you stuff that they're doing? Because we just spent $27,000 on that. I mean,
Is, which group?
Carroll.
Both groups, both Carroll and RB have been showing us what they've been producing.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry about going out of order.
Oh, that's okay. Item number 23, Overmeyer, Redmond, Maxwell, and Hippel bill list in the amount of $5,398.50. Any questions from board members?
No questions.
Any public comment? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Can you pull the board, Mr. Galloway?
Jeff Borowski,
No.
John Palmer,
Yes.
Aaron Mullen,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
Item number 24, Campbell Durant PC bill list. This is our Labor Council in the amount of $18,711.15. Any questions from board members?
Nope.
Any public comment? Okay. Is there a motion to approve that bill?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, or can you pull the board? I'm sorry, Mr. Galloway.
Jeff Brasky.
Yes.
John Palmer.
Yes.
Aaron Mullen.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Continuing with bills, item number 25 is the Jones Engineering and Associates bill list, for $284,587.60. Any questions from the board on this bill?
No questions.
No questions.
No question.
Any public comment? Please.
What is this one for?
I'm sorry,
What is this one for?
this bill,
Yeah, 284?
$284,587. It's for various projects, 3 pages worth.
Rough
No,
idea?
I think the question might be simpler. It's for Jones Engineering, the township's engineer.
Was that your question?
It's Jones Engineering, but what's it for? Like, what is $284,000?
He's our
Is this a
engineer.
change order? Was this planned? Was this?
No, this has nothing, this isn't, I don't think, is any of this, some of it is in association with the building renovation, but other than that, Mr. Jones is the township engineer. So anytime the township needs engineering services, Jones Engineering does it.
So
And
this
then
was
for that,
expected.
he bills us.
So this was expected stuff?
Typical invoices.
Okay. These aren't more change orders?
No, no, no.
No.
Oh, no.
Any other public comment? Is there a motion to pay this bill?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Galloway, can you pull the board?
Jeff Brasky.
Yes.
John Palmer.
Yes.
Aaron Mullen.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
That brings us to item number 26, which is manager comment.
No comments.
Thank you. Item number 27 is board comment. Mr. Galloway?
Well, we do have the parade coming up, the Bucks County St. Patrick's Day Parade. We had a presentation at the beginning of this meeting. We look forward to having the parade actually on the 15th of March. We've had some bad luck in the past years. So I hope to see everyone out there, and I hope for good weather. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Boraski?
I just want to comment again about the New Falls Crossing. Mr. Takita, thank you. Appreciate it. I was relentless on you. You were there, man. I appreciate all the help you did and the hard work, and the engineer's office to pull it off. And again, it's 2 years had passed, and to keep it where our budget has been for the same 2 years, we've been rolling them funds over. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Palmer?
Yeah, I'd like to go back to board and commissions and see if I can make a nominee for Debbie de Blasio in the zoning hearing board vacancy of the alternate.
That's allowed?
I think that should wait till the next meeting.
We've already gone past that agenda item. There was zoning hearing board listed as one of the potential items.
There's 3
Guys,
alternates.
gotta make sure your microphones are on.
Microphones, please.
It's at the discretion of the chair to whether or not we're going to entertain a motion that we've already gone past.
I can bring it up next meeting.
Yeah, have it.
Next meeting.
Next meeting is fine with me, too. Thank you. Mr. Palmer,
I
for your
missed it.
patience. Do you have another comment?
No other comment.
Okay. And I have no comment. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor? Aye.